This point would have been worked from the tip toward the base all the way to somewhere about right here, and then it was started over again from the base toward the tip, and the two would meet up somewhere in this area. And that's how these bases come off like they do here with the little wings. They weren't put in there after the point was done. The reason these hook up like this is because of the nature of the flakes. When you first start off taking your series, it starts off shallow, deeper, deeper, deeper. It goes in deeper and deeper toward into the blade as you work your way through, and that's how you get this flared basal area. And this kind of happens just naturally on its own if you do it right. I have one more thing I want to talk about before we get started. You might notice that these flakes overlap one another, and that's done with a technique that I call crowding. So rather than spacing these flakes out like we normally would, we keep these flakes closer together than what we normally would for a normal run of pressure flakes. And what happens is this flake, when it comes off, it wants to run into the next flake adjacent to it. But since it has nowhere to go, it just chatters along here in that concavity from the previous flake and leaves this really jagged edge right here in between the delta there. So the flake actually tears through here. See, if this flake right here were to have come off, it would have fanned out wide like this and then back the other way, but because it had nowhere to go, it tore out right here and fanned out this way, and then the next flake did the same thing and erased the scar from the previous flake. And it's a very specialized technique. And notice on the other side too, there's no remnants of any platform there, because there never was a platform. Each platform was individually set up one at a time. Alright, well, I have two potential spalls here that I'm going to work. I'll pick one of them. This is a piece of Keokuk that I got from Ron Fuller. I think I got it back in 2003 or 2004, back when I was first starting out. And this is about the right size, but I know I'm going to lose a little bit of length on this one, and might come up at about an inch short. So I think I might use this one just because it has a bullseye on here. Might be kind of cool if I can get some of that to stay. Both of these are heat treated too, and I know on the originals they were made out of raw Burlington, but this is a pretty close second. This is another piece of Keokuk that I got from Craig Ratchett. I bought it from him in Oregon at one of his classes about a year ago with the intention of making that olive branch point. I'm going to do that on a future video. I have a couple of nice pieces of raw Burlington I got from DC Waldorf that I'm going to use for this one right here. So, again, this one almost big enough, just a little bit shy. This is, in my opinion, a nicer piece of stone than that other one, and it'll probably be a little bit easier to work, but I'm going to go ahead and work on this one. I'm going to use primarily hammerstones, and I'm going to use my antler billets when I need to. What I'm going for is between a 4:1, 5:1 with the thickness ratio, and I'm going to go ahead and work on that, and then when I'm done, I'm going to start pressure flaking on the preform and show you how to do a Z-flake pattern. I'm going to skip filming all this percussion work. It'll probably take me a couple of hours to get it just how I want it, and then I'll roll the cameras and I'll show you how to make a Z-flake Dalton. Alright, well, I got the preform done. Spent about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more on it, and my aboriginal measuring device here, a right at about 7 1/4 long, 2 1/8 wide, and just a hair over 1/2 inch thick. And that's pretty much what I was going for. I was going for between a 4:1 and a 5:1 with the thickness ratio. And this point here, I know I said this was 8 1/2 inches long. This is actually about 8 1/4, and this one's at about 1 5/8 and 3/8 of an inch thick. So that puts us just over 4:1 on the finished point. So this one's going to be about an inch shorter, which is fine, and we'll go ahead and start our pressure flaking sequence. Always wear safety glasses when you're doing this. Starting at the very tip, I'm going to take one small flake up in a reverse flaking fashion, and then I'm going to drive flake off of the intended area back down the other way, and that's going to get us started. See how we're lower right there on that tip? That's our platform. That's what I call a recess platform. Okay, that's our first flake. We take one off right next to it, a small one, and then we're going to take another one back up the other way, and another one. See our platform right there below the center line, and you can see that we've also created somewhat of a little notch going in, so we're digging into the mass of the piece. You got to watch out. You get a little burr on the tip of this tool. You just need to brush that back. Alright, so you can see what's beginning to start here. Got a couple flakes off here. They're not the prettiest. When I come in from the other side, that should clean up some of that stepping. Notice that platform actually has a square end on there. It's almost at 90 degrees. And that's what a recessed platform will do. You can get that platform exactly where you want it to be.